we talk about Junior Nsemba.
6-7 weeks ago, you would have been one of the first names on the England team sheet. If a game was played tomorrow, would he be under threat, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think he'd be picked.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the brand new Rugby League podcast show, Back 10. I am your host, Kyle Amor, and each and every week I will be joined by one of the game's leading journalists in Matt Shaw, as well as a Rugby League personality. But this week, our guest is more than a personality. He's a legend of the game. On both sides of the world, he's loved. He's none other than Mr. Adrian Morley. Moz, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good, mate. Good. So, Moz, tell us a little bit about what you're up to at the moment.
Yeah, so in January I took up a role with Rugby League Cares. So I've been out of the game for a number of years, but it's great to be back in the sport, albeit not coaching or at a club, but on the welfare side. So Rugby League Cares, fantastic charity. So something I'm very passionate about, helping the players, current and ex-players, and loving the role. And as I mentioned, it's something I feel very strongly about.
Oh, fantastic, mate. And look, mentioned that Adrian Morley, a legend of the game, and we want you at home to let us know your club rugby league legend in the comments below. Now let's get into this show. Well, it's been another busy week in the world of rugby league, and there's only one place to start, and that is to bring in our co-host, Matt Shaw. Matt, give us the news and views, gossip, rumours. 60 seconds, off you go.
Plenty to get at this league. Let's start in France with the Catalan Dragons. Their new coach will be announced this week. We believe it will be Joel Tompkins. And what's interesting about this one is who he will be joined by on the coaching staff. We are reliably informed that Mickey McAlorum, currently at Hull KR, former Catalan hooker, will be joining the coaching staff alongside Mitchell Pearce, one of the great halfbacks of recent times. Moving on to St Helens, Josh Papali, it seemed like for a long time he would be going there. However, the talk is now that he will be staying in the NRL, potentially with Canberra Raiders, and a big setback to Saints who have a lot of recruitment to do heading into next year. One player from the NRL we are expecting to land in the coming weeks is Ryan Matterson, the Parramatta Eels forward. He's desperate to come to Super League now to prove himself and get himself in the shop window. Warrington Wolves are the club that we are hearing is most likely to take up that option. And speaking of Warrington, a very costly afternoon for them on Sunday, losing to Castleford Tigers, which puts their top six hopes in real jeopardy.
It sure does. It sure does. And look, we'd be foolish not to start with having our guest, Adrian Morley, Warrington legend. Moz, what's going on?
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a bit of an head scratcher, really, because, last year they were dramatically improved. They made a Challenge Cup final. They were a controversial try away from a grand final appearance as well, and I thought another year under Sam, they'll kick on and go one better or be more improved. But I think that Challenge Cup final loss, which was pretty heartbreaking for the Warrington Wolves, I think that has had a bit of an effect on them, really. And they did everything right. The game plan was great. The tactics was great. They executed it great, and they got the pockets pinched at the end of the game. So, as professionals, you shouldn't have hangovers like that and affect you, but I think it really has. They've got a fantastic squad, very talented. They should be doing better than what they're doing. And to lose away at Castleford, who were struggling themselves, it's a major blow for the club and Sam.
Well, you're right to mention, obviously, Wolves' season derailed after that Challenge Cup final loss, but even before that, leading up to it, it wasn't great either, Moz, was it?
No, I agree. It was very stop-start, very inconsistent. One week they'd look great, next week they'd be poor. So, as I say, I can't put my finger on it. I know they've had a few injuries, but every club has. You can't really use that as an excuse in the current game anymore. And now they are getting a few bodies back. They should be doing a lot better than they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a tough one. They've got a week off now to regroup, but they're going to make it really hard for themselves to make the playoffs. And even if they do, they don't want to scrape in and just be whipping boys. They want to go in with a bit of form and do something and then playoffs. So it's going to be tough. But as I say, they have got a quality squad, quality coach. I believe is the right man for the job. But they need to pull the finger out and start getting the 2 points.
But Matt, they shouldn't be, and without sounding disrespectful to Castleford, given everything that's gone on, losing Danny Maguire, they're losing to Salford. Warrington, if they're serious about making that playoff place, they should be winning games like yesterday, should they?
They should be, but are we surprised that they lost? I'm not. They've been that Challenge Cup.
Sorry, but the level of quality that they have in that team yesterday.
They should never lose on paper.
I think the conditions was a bit of a leveler, and I think it suited Castleford. And they you could argue they were a bit hungrier, but I think Warrington should still be winning that fixture without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure.
They should be, but to me, it's not a surprise. They've been hot and cold all year. They scraped past Salford. They got through Catalans, right at the very, very end. It felt to me like they were going to come unstuck in one of these winnable games that we spoke about. I think it sums them up as a team this year. I think they've no consistency, and it's probably a question for you guys. A lot of talk at Warrington about the culture, and is the culture right? It's a narrative that I think really been talked about behind the scenes all year, but no one's really addressed it. And you were there a long, long time ago, and things have changed. You were there more recently.
Well, yeah,
for a very brief, and unforgettable period of time. But I don't know. Is it something that you guys sense? Is there a cultural problem at Warrington?
I don't think so. I didn't notice that when I was there. I thought it was a great culture, and knowing Sam personally and knowing what he does in training, I think he's got a great system there. And I think the players, first of all, are bought into what he wants to achieve, and I think they're going well. It's just not being exchanged into wins and 2 points. But after last year, it was very promising. I thought this year is going to be the year. But I don't think it's an issue with the culture. But again, I can't put my finger on what the problem is, though.
For you, because you were at Saints, went to Warrington for admittedly a short. Was there anything you picked up at all? Just differences, not necessarily negatives, but just differences in the culture of what wasn't the champion team.
Yeah, there was, but you've got to remember as well, when I joined the club, it was in a hole anyways. Daryl Powell had that wonderful start, and then he's tried to start making changes as he was beginning to prepare for what his team looked like in season 2 of that. Look, I'm out the game now, being out 2 years, and when they're bringing a 35-year-old front rower in to try and help them out, you kind of think, the writing's on the wall in that sense. But I came in with a view of that I still wanted to play. I wasn't getting game time at St Helens, and when I came in there, I noticed, because we were part of that St Helens team that had won 3 in a row, and then they went on and won the 4th. Just a little behaviours like in and around training, their 1% efforts, what they valued, and every team that you're in, they all think that they're doing the right thing. But sometimes, once you've been around that, and you've been around it, Moz, when you're around winning cultures, it looks and feels a little bit different, and I certainly felt that when I was at Warrington in my time. But, having said all that, Moz, do you think that can the Wolves, because they've arguably got the favourable running, right? So can they make the playoffs in 2026? They're 3 points behind now, effectively, aren't they? Can they make the playoffs? Yeah,
I still think they can. I think the squad is quality, from top to bottom. So all it needs is a little bit of confidence, really. A couple of wins, and it's amazing how fast you can climb the ladder. So they can. It'll be tougher now than it was, obviously. But I think the teams above them, they're in a bit of a rich vein of form as well, aren't they? So
who drops out then, Moz?
Well, that's the
there's the question, isn't it? If Warrington make it, who is it? Wakefield or Hull that fall out?
Well, it'll be interesting. Have Warrington got to play any of them two in the running? So so that'll be absolutely. They'll be huge games. They'll be 4-point games, won't they? So they still can, and I still think they've got the quality to do that. And I think this week off's come at a great time for them. I think they can all freshen up and get ready and get back to the drawing board.
So there you go. Adrian Morley, Warrington Wolves will be a part of the playoffs in 2026. So we mentioned there Hull FC and where they are and what they're doing. They had a massive, massive win over Wigan, didn't they?
if they could play away from home every week, Kyle, they'd be top 2, wouldn't they? Unbelievable. They just can't play well at home. Even when they won at home against Wakefield, they were diabolical for 40 minutes. But away from home, they're a different team. They were so good, thoroughly deserving of that win. And, you know, we talked about Warrington and their injuries. Let's not forget Hull FC without Price and Asiata, who are 2 key players in the spine, and they still won at Wigan. That not many teams can say they do that anyway with a full strength team. So I've got to admit, I thought their season would drop off when those 2 got injured, but they look in a really strong position to make the 6 now. But what's going on at Wigan?
No Bevan, is he? You know, is it that simple? I don't think so. No team's really ever one-man team. But Moz, you know, Bevan French missing's massive, isn't it?
Oh, he's the best player by far in the league, and Wigan are missing him. Let's be honest. But one player doesn't make a team. They are, when he's not playing. I'd love to see what the percent record is of wins losses when he don't play. But best player, he turns it on in the big games, and they are missing him. And I think most years every team goes through a bit of a dip in form, but Wigan's, it's longer than it has been, and it's they'll be hoping it don't linger around more than 3 or 4 games.
No, certainly not, because that top 2 place is now under real threat, isn't it? You know, they have to flip the switch pretty quick, don't they?
Yeah. Well, the 1 point clear of Lee.
Yeah.
So
Lee are the form team at the moment as well.
They're flying.
So
Leeds are going well. I know they've lost to Saints twice, but they've gone brilliantly other than that. So they are in trouble of dropping out of the 2.
But just heading back to that game, you know, obviously no Bevan French, I get that. You're right to mention no Asiata as well. But I just thought that the Hull FC pack of Herman Esiesa, Liam Knight, Jed Cartwright, they really, really took it to a pack that, for me, as for a number of weeks now, it's a concern. I think that's Wigan's biggest concern. Yes, Bevan French being out's massive, but there's still enough in there by far. But their pack looks so slow and lethargic at the moment. It's a big concern, and I thought he got exposed big time at the weekend.
I think it actually comes before that. I think they're missing a Basmiski because he gets the sets off to such a good start, and they get on a roll from there. And you'll know this, well, both of you will. Yeah. You carry off a good winger and some ruck speed, it's a lot easier to carry that ball, isn't it?
Well, look, they lost Ecclesley as well, which won't have helped. And you're right to mention Abasmiski, but on the other side, they've got probably the best set starter in the competition in Liam Marshall. But look, you know, you can. We're all trying to search now, aren't we, for why Wigan have hit another mid-season wobble? But look, we can't gloss over Christian Wade's performance. He was essentially rocks and diamonds, wasn't he?
Yeah.
His try was. There's not many that can score like that, is there?
No, it was unbelievable bit of skill, and that's the quality he does possess. But it's the other side that was the problem at the weekend, and something that can be worked on. But he needs to do better.
He immediately apologised, didn't he? He said to Matty P, he come straight over, apologised, and there were 3 big errors though, weren't they? There were 3 big errors that all led to tries. Yeah. So yeah, whilst it's unfortunate for him, it just puts Wigan on another defeat, doesn't it?
It does. I'm just wondering, have you guys ever played in a match with a teammate who's had a nightmare like that, and you are seeing it unfold, and what's going through your head when it's happening? What are you thinking about the poor guy that's at the centre of it? I'm sure you've both had those games where someone's just having an absolute shocker.
Yeah, it's it really is tough. You know, that in the heat of the moment, it's hard to get the boys to snap out of it. So it's just like on the day you can have a really, really tough day at the office, but it's really hard in the moment to snap out of it. I don't know. Have you?
Yeah, no. Look, I instantly, while you were talking, I'm trying to wrap my brain thinking about a performance I'd seen, and there was we had a young kid who was in and around the first team squad. He got his opportunity. He was at home to Hull FC, and Leon Price just absolutely tore him apart with his kicking game. He dropped 3 balls, led to a couple of tries. But I suppose that day, I think coaches normally plan for that. If they're going to put a young kid in, there's normally the ability to cover and well, end of the day, they took him off at half time, and I don't think he played for the club again after that, really, which was unfortunate for him. But obviously the Wigan game, losing Ecclesley, they didn't really. I mean, me and Mark Wilson covered the game, and Mark was questioning whether he would come back out in the second half. And I think maybe if Zach had have been not got injured, then maybe that could have been an option. But he was left out there, and like you say, well, let's. He'll know as a player. You know fine well. Like if you make a mistake, it's on you, isn't it? And I'm sure he's experienced enough to take that one on the chin and bounce back from it.
What about Nsemba? Can we talk about Junior Nsemba? Do you think his form's dropped off a bit?
It has. Look, I think, a couple of weeks ago, he's an exciting athlete to watch. He's a poster boy of the game as it stands, and he is phenomenal when he's on. 6-7 weeks ago, you would have been one of the first names on the England team sheet. If a game was played tomorrow, would he be under threat, do you think?
Yeah, I don't think he'd be picked. When Sean Wayne got the squad in recently, he made it clear he's going to pick an England team on form, which as it quite rightly as it should be. And you've got to say he's not up to international standard at the moment. He's got to get himself back into that position, but he's at a great club to do that. And Sean Wayne is a fan, but at the moment he won't be a fan of his performances.
And then obviously with Jay Field going down as well now, who do you see coming in? Does Douglas get a go again, or do they look to young Hodgkinson? Or
it's really difficult because Miski's clearly struggling. He's struggling to get on the field. They've lost Zach Eckersley now. I believe he's got quite a serious leg injury.
Yeah,
I have no idea how they fix that up, because the thing that we're forgetting, they had Willie Iser at the start of the year in that squad. He left and he's now doing great things at Chelsea. But he was the one that had moved into centre. Does Liam Farrell end up at centre? But
well, he got stood up a bit, didn't he, by
did.
Davy Layton? And Liam Farrell he's been a sensational player in Super League, and he reminds me of, I can only refer to my own experience. I believe he's supposed to be a little bit like the James Roby of Wigan. Does everything right, so professional, so reliable. But his legs it's so difficult in it centre. If you get it wrong, it's going to lead to something in it. Usually in the middle, if you miss a tackle, your mate will cover for you.
It doesn't even really make sense to do that, because they've still got Kieran and Wardle, so you'd have to then move one of them out to the wing. It just seems messy. They have got a lot of injuries, at the minute. Yeah. Like Luke Thompson, we've not mentioned him. He's not playing.
No, true.
They need their mid-season break, but they've got another game to go. They play Catalans this week.
Okay. Do they finish in the top 2, yes or no?
Yes.
Moz?
Yes.
They win the grand final for me.
Interesting. Well, some other big news that surfaced last week was the brand new Rugby League game, Rugby League 26. And as part of that game, there is a new Ultimate Team style mode where you can build your perfect team. But whilst we've got the legend that is Adrian Morley on, we've decided that we're going to ask Moz to build his own Adrian Morley legend card. And also his ultimate perfect player based upon the 6 categories that we're going to discuss. But before we do that, we want you at home, again, to join in on this one in the comments. Please, after each category, you put in your ultimate team player of that category, okay? So, Moz, we're going to start with speed. So everything's out of 100, and speed consists of speed and acceleration. What would Adrian Morley rate himself?
Do you know what? That was one of the sectors I was quite pleased with. So I started in the second row as a professional. Yeah. Then I moved up to front row after 10 years. So I remember every time we was in GB camp or England camp, there was 6 or 7 props. And for a bit of fun, when we used to wear the GPSs, we'd all get in a line, do a 40-metre sprint, and it'd register. I was always number 1. So I'm happy with my speed. So out of 100, is it?
Out of 100 miles, yeah.
Well, I played with the fastest player I played with. I got to play one game with Martin of Fire, and for out and out speed, Martin was the man. But I'd put myself up there, 92. I'll give myself
92. Right, 92. That's
big
for a front row, isn't it? So what's Martin of Fire? He's got to be 100 then.
Oh yeah, he's the 100% man.
No, awesome. So defence again. We'll ask you your ultimate sort of defensive player based upon tackling efficiency, wrestling, winning the ruck. What you would score them out of 100, and then what does Adrian Morley rank himself next to on that?
Mickey Iron was brilliant at the getting in and the wrestling and grappling, and I think so. Mickey was well up there, but you know, my probably strength was the actual collision in
Well,
the tackle.
that is later on.
Is that later on? Okay,
Don't jump the gun. I've left that to last.
You jumped the gun. But no, I was pretty good. Every time we did the wrestling drills in training, I was okay at the wrestling. But I think Mickey's the best I played with, and so if Mickey's 100 again, I'll put myself late 80s, 87, I think.
Solid. Ball handling, passing, offloading, catching.
Certainly wasn't my game. Just trying to think who I played with who was particularly good at ball handling. Paul Wood was actually very good.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. But we had to play shield, where basic play two forwards go, and then you just hit the halfback out of the back. But that was his go-to play, and if you were tired, you just did Wood shield. So you knew you had to go and support Wood. So yeah, it was pretty good, Wood. Yeah, but that wasn't my forte, so I'll give myself 60.
60, right. I think a bit harsh, 60. Right?
I sure remember the odd passing.
Here's one. Now, I don't think I ever recall Adrian Morley kicking. So, kicking in play off the tee. You can count in training.
Do you know what? I never kicked at all. I played a test for Great Britain against the Kiwis, and I made a break, and I tried to do a cheeky little grubber kick past the fullback. I was going full pelt, and the size of my feet went about 3 meters. But then on the fifth tackle, our halfback got caught, flicked it to me, and I put one up and under. So from not kicking at all, I did two playing on the biggest stage. But again, they were both pretty terrible kicks. So I'll give myself an even less of a score. I think probably the best kick I played with was Lee Breers. So I'd give myself 30 if Breers is 100%.
30, just in case you have a breakthrough and need to chip over the full back again. But yeah, keep letting us know, guys, at home as well, with your comments of your ultimate team player for each of these remaining categories as well. So we'll go on to now Rugby IQ. 1%ers, tactical awareness, game awareness. On both sides of the world here, Moz. You know, you don't have to stay.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, I was fortunate to play with the great Brad Fittler in Australia, but I still think, I mentioned him a minute ago for his kicking skill, I still think Lee Breers are the best rugby brain I've ever played with, you know, for making the right decisions at the right time. Breezy was the best. You know, you could argue, you know, he didn't like training, he weren't an athlete to look at, but as I mentioned, for doing the right thing at the right time, he was the best.
So, score, Rugby IQ for Moz.
For me,
look, knowing what to do, you played in many big games.
I knew what to do, but I didn't have the skill and ability to do that. But as time goes on, as you get more experienced, you know, I did, get an halfback's mind, but they did the carrying out. So I did have more of an understanding. So I'd give myself 70. If Breezy was 100, I'd give myself.
Well, look, which leads me on to the final category, and one I've no doubt you'll score, and there'll be very few at home that will disagree with physicality. You know, however, I did half smile to myself there when I was talking about knowing what to do in big games. I cannot help but think back to that red card. Yeah. Your intention was right, wasn't it? But maybe execution not. But physicality, Moz.
Yeah, physicality. Pride myself. That was my my trump card playing rugby league. I had a good mentor in Barry McDermott. I think Barry was fantastic when it come to intimidation and that kind of thing. Barry was right up there, so I'd like to think I was up there with Barry, learnt off the best. So I'll give myself 90, 95 confrontational skill.
Well, I don't think there's going to be too many, Matt, that will disagree with Mozzy's 95 for physicality, eh?
He's sat next to me, so I'm not arguing with him. But I want to know how you've got away with not scoring yourself on this, because...
Look, we'll leave that one for another day, shall we, eh? Because there'll be too many people, both you, Moz, and everyone at home will have fun with that. So
I might do it just off the show, and I'll report back next week.
Yeah, please do. So there you go. The Back 10 Rugby League podcast, brand new, is finished for this week. We'll be continuing this all the way through up until the end of the Ashes series. But for now, from myself, Matt Shaw, thank you very much, and the one and only Mr. Adrian Morley, legend of the game. We'll look forward to seeing you all sometime again soon. See you next week for now.